You know, there's something wrong with weebs and otakus nowadays. They're always walking around going, I don't have a girlfriend. I need to get a girlfriend. Like it's something you can buy at the local fucking Pokemon card shop. But the moment you place a woman with a little bit of pudge on her stomach in their anime, they just go, oh my god, I cannot believe that you would place this filth before my eyes. You would sully my beautiful anime with this fat, ugly women. And then they give it a 5 on my anime list. You know what else has a 5 on my anime list? The Banished Former Hero, and that show was way worse. So you know what? I'm putting my foot down. It is about time that somebody stood up for our beautiful thick queens, and I will not have you guys raging against them for no reason other than holy shit, it's porn! Hello and welcome to Binging Last Season, where this week I watched 2 anime. One of them was about a group of beautiful, genuine women just trying their best, and the other was about the worst people that you have ever met. But of course they're the worst people that you've ever met. They're in high school. But we're starting this week with plus-sized elf, otherwise known as Erufusan wa Yaserarenai, otherwise known as leave these beautiful women alone. And the first thing we gotta get out of the way right off the bat, this is ecchi. This is like super ecchi. This is basically softcore pornography. But you know what else is super ecchi? How not to summon a demon lord. And I bring it up because I rewatched it recently because I remembered this scene on the bridge.
貴様は何も分かってない。真の魔王はこの俺、ホワイトロだ。
Look, all I'm saying here is the fact that something is ecchi, that it's super horny, doesn't necessarily make it bad. You wouldn't really want your dad walking in on you watching How Not to Summon a Demon Lord either, but it has a lot of redeeming qualities. But it does mean that there are not a lot of scenes from the anime that I can actually use in a YouTube video. I am extremely limited because the episodes are only 12 minutes long. Now that is not a deal breaker. Surezure Children is one of my favorite anime of all time. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It also has short episodes, but there is a lot more there, and a lot of this show is focused on some real horn dog stuff. Which also makes me wonder, where are they airing this? Look, I don't know if Japan has different rules for TV than we do, but there are not a lot of channels that you could find this show on in the US. But it's not the horniness that brings it down. It's not the fact that the girls are portrayed as being pretty large and having big stomachs that brings it down. It's the fact that when the show is horny, that is all that it is. There's nothing else happening on the screen. But when it's not, it's kind of fun. There are sections in almost every episode that focus on little exercises that you can do to try to get in shape if you're overweight, and there are also parts that are just funny and charming. It's mostly comedy and fantasy mixed with a lot of horniness and, you know, exercise routines. It's just there's a lot that's put into these 12-minute episodes where it doesn't really shine in any significant way, and there's a little bit too much time focused on being horny. But it's a pretty good time, and I never felt like I was forcing myself to watch it like with some other anime that I've covered on this channel. I gave it a 6 out of 10, but it's a lot closer to a 7 than a 5, that's for sure. And I think the bad ratings on my anime list are basically fat woman on my screen, which I don't respect. And speaking of things I don't respect, Makeine! Holy shit. Wait, what's that? Do you hear that? Hey, do you want to make an incel? You know it's really not that hard. All you do is take a girl or two and just make sure that you don't make them tubs of lard. Now add in your male pro tag to their life and make him into their bitch. Now you just made an incel. I didn't mean to make an incel. Well, shit. Makeine, dude. Where do I even begin? Make heroine ga osugiru, or Makeine, Too Many Losing Heroines, is a show about high school. And that's kinda all I need to say for you to understand that these people are fucking terrible. And knowing that, I can square it away. I can say, look, these people are in high school. Of course they're going to be terrible people. I just have to quell that deep-seated misogyny in me and keep it down and make sure it doesn't rear its ugly head. But unfortunately, I think this anime is going to cause a lot of close calls with the alt-right pipeline. I'm just saying. Makeine is the story of various high school romances told from the perspective of perennial third wheel Nukumizu, whose domain expansion is ultimate friendzone. And despite the fact that it tells you what it's going to do from the first episode and it's a relatively accurate portrayal of how it would be to be in that situation, I would know. Quite frankly, it kind of glorifies the situation that Nukumizu ends up being in, which is inaccurate because the position that he's in sucks balls. Because the three female leads basically rope him into their situations and complain to him about their love lives because he's not their friend. Because they say, oh, I can't talk to my friends about this, it'll be awkward. So I'm just going to talk to this random boy who happened to be here and unload on him. Hey, fuck you! But they end up being actual friends and that makes up for it, right, Celery? No! The circumstances under which they dragged him into their lives and ended up being friends were good circumstances. These women aren't really good people. They're not portrayed as it anyway, unless you ignore all of the red flags, which I try not to do. But at the end of the day, the story is from his perspective, not theirs, which means that even if they have really nice moments together, even if they bond and become really good friends, and maybe even if the show takes a romantic turn, I still know that these women are terrible. And yes, they're terrible because they're in high school. I've already covered that. But it's tough to ignore it while I'm trying to enjoy the show. And that's my rant about what makes Makeine so fucking bad. Now, what makes Makeine good? Fucking everything else. Once you get past all the red flags, if you can, the cast of characters are extremely varied and all very much likable. There's a student council member who's incredibly creepy and shows up in some of the weirdest but some of my favorite scenes. There's a perpetually drunk homeroom teacher. There's a nurse that can't stop talking about all the guys she used to fuck when she went to this school. The school in question is decrepit, which is a far cry from every single other anime where the school is just in pristine shape and everything is perfect, which I just assume is true of Japan, but now that I think about it, yeah, there's probably some shitty schools out there, so it makes sense. It is visually beautiful. The animation team must have gotten paid overtime for this one. The stories that they tell about the antics they get up to are cute and fun and dramatic, and that's really one of the downsides, kind of. It's that most of the stories that they're telling are about heartbreak and love triangles, and it's kind of difficult to watch if you've dealt with that kind of thing before, and really difficult to watch if you've never had the opportunity. There's a lot to love about this little drama, but it's really not for me because it is way too close to reality. If that's your thing, you're going to enjoy this more than I did, but I watch anime as an escape from real life. I really hate it when it reminds me how things actually are. Oh, and one little note that I forgot to cover in an earlier section, when it comes to the characters, specifically Nukumizu, our main character, he reads these romance novels and they sort of presented at the start like he's going to be some kind of guru for helping these women through their troubles, but he's not. It's not a superpower. It's not like something that helps him in these interactions with these people, and he screws up pretty often, and I thought that was a good choice by the writers, ironically. I thought that him not being like the smartest person ever and being able to help them handle their situations, I thought it was a good choice. Anyway, if you're still here, you probably want to hear a number, and that number is 8. I gave it an 8 out of 10, because, you know, you really can't deny a show that's this good in so many respects. It's just, I didn't enjoy the story that much because of the topics that it covered. Digs up a lot of uncomfortable feelings that I don't want to feel when I'm watching anime. I want something stupid and fun. It can be serious, but if it's a little bit too serious like this one, I don't really think I want to watch it again. I will probably watch season 2 though. And that's it for today's episode of Binging Last Season. I think it's going to come out a little bit late. I'm sorry for that. I got sucker punched last week and it kind of made me depressed because as it turns out, if you restrain yourself from caving somebody's face in for somebody else's sake, it doesn't feel that good. It turns out you have to do that kind of thing for yourself, and if you're doing it for somebody else, hey, don't hold back. As for what we're talking about next week, look, summer 2024 seems pretty weak on the surface, but I think there's a couple hidden gems in there. Particularly, I want to talk to you guys about a very nimble-footed boy and a show from spring that finished up recently that I've really wanted to check out. So I'll see you then.